Hi, and welcome to this tutorial video on how to use Adobe Spark in order to create a narrated slideshow presentation. So, first of all, why would I want to use Adobe Spark as opposed to, let's say, Google Slides? Well, the problem with Google Slides is that although it's not impossible to create a narrated slideshow using Google Slides, it's not particularly easy. And Adobe Spark is really well suited for creating narrated slideshows. I could use a video editor such as iMovie or even something like Adobe Premiere, but Adobe Premiere actually does way more than what I need to do with this particular platform. So let's get started. I'm going to show you something along the lines of what I want my presentation to look like. So I could preview this.
And welcome to this presentation about the High Renaissance. The High Renaissance spans from roughly the late 15th to the early 16th century in Europe. Most specifically, we're going to take a look at the Renaissance in Italy.
Okay, and so on. So you get the idea of what the presentation needs to look like, or something like that. So now, once you've logged into Adobe Spark, which you should do using your educational email. So if you're an educator or a student, you would use whatever email you use for the educational institution to which you belong. Once you've logged into Adobe Spark for education, you have these options available here. And although I'm creating a presentation, really what I'm making is a slideshow using pictures, a video, in fact. So that's what I'm going to pick for this. And once you do this, if you've done this for the very first time, it might actually offer you a video tutorial, which you could choose to watch, but I've already exited that. And also, I'm not going to use any of this stuff for now. I'm just going to skip that. And Adobe Spark comes with a variety of templates that you could use for this. But again, I'd rather just kind of take control and start from scratch. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. Once I've started from scratch, there are still built-in templates in Adobe Spark. So I just want to show you what they look like here. They're called themes. And it's similar to when you use Google Slides or PowerPoint. You can choose different slide themes. The only difference is with Adobe Spark is that the themes include they're called themes because there's a common type of font that will show up all the way through, a certain type of transition from one slide to the other that's consistent, and so it makes the whole project look very unified if you pick a specific theme. The only problem is, let's just scroll over Sage here. You see the image of the mountains. Zoom in. So far as I know, all of the themes have some sort of Ken Burns effect that's built into them that you can't turn off, except for Tidal. So if I scroll over this, you do not see a zoom on this mountain picture. And that's why I prefer to use Tidal as the theme for my slides. Okay, I want to create a title slide, so I'm going to click on the plus button here and choose Photo. And this is another great aspect of Adobe Spark Video. Because it's cloud-based, it doesn't matter what computer I'm on, where I am, anywhere on the entire planet. As long as I'm on some sort of device that connects to the internet, I can work on my project. So it's cloud-based. There's another disadvantage, let's say, of using iMovie or Adobe Premiere or something like that if it's loaded locally on your home computer. But then also, this speaks directly to all of these other cloud-based platforms where you might also have some of your files. In this case, maybe you've put all your images and text ahead of time into your Google Drive. Well, now I can access that Google Drive straight from Adobe Spark. I don't have to download things onto my computer and then re-upload them into the project. It's pretty amazing. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to choose Find free photos. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for now. Find free photos. And I want the Sistine ceiling. Now, this is definitely not the Sistine ceiling, but that's because I have no idea why I would come up with those sort of things through Unsplash, but I'm going to pick a different search engine, Pixabay, and here happens to be a picture of the Sistine Chapel ceiling. So when I click on that, it drops it into my opening slide. And the great thing is all these images that you can find using these searches are free. They are free photos. They're royalty free. You can do whatever you want with them basically. Once my slide is in there, I also want to add some text. So there is my title, and my title slide's just about ready to go. It's going to play for 4 seconds, although I could make it play longer by clicking on this and dragging the slider. But actually, this is a narrated slideshow, and I'm going to begin with narration. So in order to do your narration, super easy. You just hover over this microphone, and when you're ready to talk, you click down on the mouse, and that will begin your recording. And once you're done, you just release the mouse. So here we go. Hello, and welcome to the High Renaissance. And now I'm done. So now I can preview that slide.
Hello, and welcome to the High Renaissance.
Okay.
Hello.
And there's some music playing in the background there as well, which I'll get to a little bit later in the presentation. So there's my title slide. Now I want to add a new slide, so I just click on this button here. And this slide, I'm going to use a split screen, so I can have text on one side and my image on the other. So I click on my text, and here I might talk about the history of the Renaissance and give a bit of context, that sort of thing. Just make sure that whatever you're doing with these slides, don't get too texty. Keep the text to a minimum and let your narration do the talking for you. Please do not ever just read an Adobe Spark video to your audience. It's super annoying and boring. Okay, so we click on the slide, the next half of the slide, and I choose a photo. And in this case, I'm going to use Florence, since this is history of the Renaissance. Click on that picture. And now you can move these images around. You can manipulate them a little bit by clicking on the pencil here in order to edit. So I can zoom out or in, and I can also grab it. It's turned into a hand, so I can move the picture around. So my second slide is done. I record my narration, and I'm ready to move on to the next slide. Now the next slide, I want to do something a little bit more visually dynamic, and that is include a photo montage. So if I was using Google Slides, I would have to create a photo montage by dragging a bunch of pictures or dropping a bunch of pictures into a slide, and then I've got to grab them by the corners and shrink them down and fit them all around one another. And it's almost like a game of Tetris, especially if you have like 7 or 8 images you want to put into one photo montage. It gets pretty complicated figuring out how to squeeze them all into one rectangle. Well, you can actually create photo montages on another part of Adobe Spark Video, and this is why I have more than one Adobe Spark tab open. Here, I'm not going to choose Adobe Spark Video. In fact, I'm going to choose over here, graphic, custom size graphic. And if I choose standard, along the options here, if I just scroll over a little bit, one of the options is Spark Video Widescreen. So when I click on that, it's going to create just a blank slide, a single slide, in which I can create a layout. So depending on how many pictures you have, you know, I could create a layout based on any of those. For now, I'm just going to do one with 4. And it doesn't even matter what sort of format I make yet, or what layout. I can always change the layout later. So in my first cell, I'm going to add a photo. Now this time, I've put my photos on my downloads folder. So I'm going to upload a photo from my computer and pin it to the background. Basically, it's going to add it to one of these cells. And his face is all cut off there. It doesn't matter, because I still haven't really decided what I want to do in the way of the layout yet. I just want to get my photos in here. Would have been great. I thought you could choose a bunch at once, but Shift Select wasn't working for me, so I'm just going to add them individually for now. Moses in there. And then my last slide is the Delphic Sibyl. This is one of the images from the Sistine Chapel ceiling. So even if I move these around, once they're in, This layout is, a little bit boring. Just 4 straight up rectangles that are all the same size. So I'm going to click off of this slide and go back down here and look at some of the other options. Like there's this, and that actually looks quite nice. I mean, she's really big, but she's not the topic, he is. So if I choose shuffle, it's going to move things around. Eventually he's going to end up over there, and I could use that one. This actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep this layout, and now I just want to add some text. The title for this slide, Michelangelo. Done. And I can put the title down here. So it's telling me it's lined up in the middle of that picture, and it's this way, and the middle of this picture this way. Let's say I've got that font in there. When I click off of it, I kind of like it, but I want something, I don't know, just a little more special. I click over here on Style, and this is also really neat. Rather than having to scroll through and individually pick fonts, I just drag this around, and it gives me a whole bunch of different options here. So, whoa, not crazy about that one, but let's just say I like that one. That one's good enough, okay? So there is my slide for Michelangelo. Now I sort of wish that you could go back here and just bring that slide in. So far as I can tell, it doesn't talk within itself to just allow this to go over. So what I have to do is download this. It's going to download it as a ping. And then I go back to my projects. Not a big step to have to do. I go in, I create a new slide, and on this slide for photo, I'm going to upload photo, and there is that photo montage. And there's a title slide for Michelangelo. Again, I would record my narration and carry on. Now, so far as I also understand, these slides don't like to play longer than 30 seconds. So if you need a slide that's longer than 30 seconds, let's say your narration lasts for more than 30 seconds, you can just duplicate a slide, record for 28 seconds or whatever, and then just go to the next slide and pick up where you left off. And that allows you to carry a narration longer. Or my suggestion would be, visually, it would probably be a little bit more interesting if there were more things to look at anyway. Get a new slide. Okay, so now the whole thing is just about ready to go. Here's a few options of what to do with your project when it's done. You can go to download, and it's going to download an MP4 of this for me. I'm going to stop it from doing that, but it will download a file that then I can upload somewhere else. Another option is to be able to share this. You can publish it, and what this does is once you go through this, it will create a link. So rather than even having to save the file on a device and send it to someone, because some of these files might be big, you can create a link and post the link wherever it is you need to turn an assignment in or share it with students or whatever, depending on whether you're a student or a teacher. You create that link, and then you can share the link with whoever you want to be able to watch this video. And it's about that easy. Another really neat thing about Adobe Spark is that you can collaborate. And this is basically like sharing files on Google Drives. So I could invite someone to collaborate on this project with me. So if I've been given an assignment where I need to create a presentation with a partner, I could do that this way as well. So that's an introduction on how to use Adobe Spark Video in order to create a narrated slideshow. And I hope you got something from this presentation. Good luck with your own. Bye-bye.